Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 223 based on novel. So let's start. Wang Lin had already grabbed Li Yuan and retreated the moment the white-haired man appeared. They retreated more than 500 meters away. As they heard the constant screams of dying cultivators, Wang Lin's expression became extremely gloomy. Wang Lin saw Shen Gonghu and company's appearance, and this made him hesitate. However, he looked at Li Yuan and didn't act. Beside him, Li Yuan's face was extremely pale. "Brother Shu, I fear we won't be able to leave." Wang Lin silently pondered. This white-haired man was too strong. He secretly compared him to the blood ancestor, and judging from this person's cultivation, he was even stronger than the blood ancestor. This was not even the key point. Every time the white-haired man devoured a cultivator, his cultivation would increase. Thus, Wang Lin was able to figure out how high this person's cultivation level could reach. Wang Lin looked at Li Yuan and suddenly asked, "Brother Li, do you believe in me?" Li Yuan was startled and nodded. "Does Brother Shu have a method of leaving?" "I naturally believe in Brother Shu." Wang Lin hesitated before slowly saying, "I indeed have a spell, but I have not fully mastered it yet. If I take a person with me, while I'll come to no harm, the person I bring will likely suffer. If you agree, I can try it." Li Yuan silently pondered. He knew exactly how powerful the white-haired man was, and he knew he was no match. Even with Shu Mu here, when facing the white-haired man, Shu Mu might not even be able to protect himself, much less protect him. Li Yuan had a feeling that if he stayed here, he would without a doubt die. This feeling was very strong, and at this moment it completely engulfed his mind. Li Yuan's eyes lit up, revealing decisiveness, and he said, "Brother Shu, please use the spell." "I'm willing to gamble." Wang Lin nodded. He became acquainted with Li Yuan in the Thunder Celestial Realm, and they had been through much together. Although they couldn't be considered best friends, they had been through trials and tribulations. If it wasn't for Li Yuan, Wang Lin believed that he would have died under the blood ancestor's pursuit. In this regard, Li Yuan had saved his life. After taking a deep breath, Wang Lin slowly backed up and opened his heart. As he recalled the feeling of merging with the world, ripples would appear with every step he took. After stepping back more than 10 steps, that feeling of merging with the world still hadn't appeared. Seeing that the celestial gate was ready to disappear at any moment and hearing the screams of the dying cultivators, Wang Lin suppressed his anxiety and calmed his heart. He wasn't thinking about anything and did his best to calm himself down. In the end, as Wang Lin backed up, his eyes revealed a calm gaze. At this moment, he began merging with the world and gradually became closer and closer to becoming one with the world. After an unknown amount of time, the original feeling of merging with the world and being inseparable from it appeared once more in Wang Lin's heart. At this moment, he had the illusion that he had become the world. His eyes narrowed and were as calm as water. Wang Lin no longer backed up but walked forward one step at a time. He was extremely calm. Ripples appeared under his feet once more and slowly spread out. Wang Lin grabbed the dumbfounded Li Yuan as his body gradually disappeared into the void. Li Yuan felt a powerful force coming from Wang Lin, as if he was wrapped up by a sword. His vision became blurry and he couldn't see things clearly anymore. It was as if his entire being was being dragged through time and had extended infinitely. After grabbing Li Yuan's arm, Wang Lin's eyes were still as calm as water. As he stepped forward, he and Li Yuan disappeared as they truly entered the void. At this moment, the white-haired man that was being attacked by 5 powerful corporeal yang cultivators, more than 10 illusory yin cultivators, and large number of ascendant cultivators let out a loud laugh. As he laughed like crazy, his hand formed seals and he muttered some words. A layer of red light immediately appeared inside mist. All of the origin spells and magical treasures had no effect on the light screen. They weren't able to break it. Shen Gonghu's flying sword collided with the light screen. The flying sword immediately shattered inch by inch. The backlash caused Shen Gonghu to cough out blood and immediately retreat. Not only him, but Zhong Konglai, Tang Tangfeng, and the other two corporeal yang cultivators all coughed out blood and were knocked back. As for the illusory yin cultivators, their origin souls shook and their bodies were thrown back. The white-haired man inside the light screen revealed a bloodthirsty grin and said, with a hoarse voice, "Yes, now there is some combatability. However, compared to the Celestial Army, you juniors are too weak, too weak, too weak. You're not even qualified to make me use my G-realm." As he spoke, he opened his arms and the light screen around him suddenly expanded. It moved very fast and pushed away the white mist surrounding him. The surrounding cultivators couldn't help but retreat. There were few that were too slow that touched the light screen. The moment they touched the light screen, they let out screams and their bodies withered and became mummified. Even their origin souls collapsed, and the origin energy was absorbed by the light screen. From the outside, various cultivators charged out from the white mist in terror as if they were afraid they were too slow. As the white-haired man laughed, his figure flickered and he appeared behind an illusory yin cultivator that was falling behind. He crushed the cultivator's body and was about to devour the cultivator's origin soul when he suddenly turned around. For the first time, his eyes revealed shock and seriousness. Tao merged with the world. At the moment he turned around, the cultivator who lost his body exploded his origin soul. However, the white-haired man couldn't be bothered and also merged with the world. Ripples appeared under his feet and his body immediately disappeared. Not even many people in the celestial realm from back then were able to achieve Tao merged with the world. However, this person hasn't fully mastered it. The white-haired old man appeared 1,000 feet away from the celestial gate and his eyes revealed a strange light. His right hand mercilessly grasped toward the void. "Come out for me." 5 huge spatial cracks suddenly appeared in the world. These cracks were large, and with a sharp, whistling sound, it seemed to rip open 5 rifts in the world. A power clearly different from celestial spiritual energy and origin energy erupted from the white-haired man and entered the cracks. At this moment, all of the cultivators had the illusion that the entire world was violently shaking. Shenggong, whose face was pale, and beside him, John Conlai was the same. Tang Yangfeng clenched his fists. The 3 of them looked at each other and saw the fear hidden deep within each other's eyes. A soft, muffled groan came out from the void before the old man. Following that, Wang Lin's figure appeared 500 feet from the celestial gate. Wang Lin was holding Li Yuan, whose orifices were bleeding and his eyes were filled with confusion. At the moment he appeared, Li Yuan coughed out a large amount of blood. It was obvious he couldn't bear Wang Lin's spell. The moment Wang Lin appeared, he didn't hesitate at all. Almost at the moment he appeared, he mercilessly threw Li Yuan forward. A powerful surge of origin energy surrounded Li Yuan, causing him to fly like lightning toward the dissipating celestial gate that was only the size of a fist. That white-haired old man sneered as he took a step forward and immediately disappeared. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and his origin energy surged out without any hesitation to form a vortex. The might of thunder came out from his origin soul and countless bolts of thunder entered the vortex. "Explode!" Wang Lin shouted without any hesitation the moment the old man disappeared. A loud rumble suddenly exploded inside the void. This sound was so shocking that it caused all of the surrounding cultivators to suck in breaths of cold air. Shenggong, whose eyes narrowed as he stared at Wang Lin and revealed a look of joy. Not only him, but John Conlai was the same. "It's him." Tang Yangfeng frowned. He recognized Wang Lin as Xu Mu, who he had no confidence in winning against. At the same time, the origin vortex in front of Wang Lin collapsed was the same time the white-haired man appeared before Wang Lin. The vortex immediately collapsed and the white-haired man's eyes revealed a mysterious light as he laughed. He mercilessly inhaled and all the origin energy from the collapse of the vortex was inhaled into his mouth. Wang Lin quickly retreated and caught up to Li Yuan. He pushed Li Yuan and shouted, "Li Yuan, quickly, activate the thunder furnace." His voice was like thunder that rushed into Li Yuan's brain. Still confused, Li Yuan subconsciously took out the thunder furnace. The moment he took it out, it was when his body touched the dissipating celestial gate that was only the size of a fist. A ray of light came from the furnace and wrapped around Li Yuan before he disappeared. At the same time, Wang Lin also took out the thunder furnace and was about to leave as well. At this moment, the white-haired man's eyes lit up and he softly said, "Gate, close." After that was said, the celestial gate that had shrunk to the size of a fist immediately collapsed and disappeared. As Wang Lin held the thunder furnace, his eyes became cold. He didn't even look back and immediately teleported toward the void. The old man laughed and chased after Wang Lin. "I remember now, you are that cautious chi cultivator." The white-haired man was too fast, so he caught up to Wang Lin in one step. His large hand viciously grasped toward Wang Lin's back. "I don't like cautious people. Even the G realm wasn't able to kill you. I want to see how you will escape this time." The white-haired man's eyes glowed red and there was a harsh whistling sound along with his grasp. In an instant, all of Wang Lin's paths of retreat were sealed. Shen Gonghu suddenly opened his eyes and his eyes were filled with expectation. "My lord, please act." Shen Konglai was extremely alert and thought, "This strange man is too strong. I just don't know if senior is stronger." As for Tang Yangfeng, he sneered as he stared at Wang Lin and thought at the bottom of his heart, although this person is strong, even with the 5 of us and many illusory yin cultivators, we were no match for the strange man. He is at the same cultivation level as me and will without a doubt die. I want to see how he is killed. That will save me some trouble in the future. At this moment, Wang Lin was in the limelight. Not only were Shen Gonghu, Zhong Konglai, Tang Yangfeng, and the 2 remaining corporeal yang cultivators looking at him, all of the cultivators from the various families all had their eyes on Wang Lin. All of this was because Wang Lin had appeared within 500 feet of the celestial gate and, most importantly, had sent Li Yuan outside. Li Yun became the first and only cultivator to successfully leave the Thunder Celestial Realm. All of this caused Wang Lin to become the focus of all the cultivators in an instant. Wang Lin's expression turned gloomy when he noticed that all of his paths of retreat had been blocked by the white-haired man. This seal wasn't visible to the eye, but his divine sense felt like there were sharp blades in all directions. No matter where he went, it would be like running into a sharp blade. Even teleportation couldn't be used, he was completely trapped here. The white-haired man grinned and his right hand formed a claw that moved like lightning. He suddenly appeared behind Wang Lin and reached toward his heart. 5 spatial rifts whistled through the void toward Wang Lin. All of the hair on Wang Lin's body stood up. Feeling the crisis, he didn't hesitate to raise his finger and quickly shout, "Wind." In an instant, a black wind appeared on Wang Lin's right hand. A moment later, it grew and diffused as if it had replaced everything in the world. After the black wind appeared, it immediately swept the area. Wang Lin was inside the black wind as he suddenly turned around. His eyes were black and his hair was flowing in the wind. Right now he didn't look like a celestial but rather a devil. His gaze was like a sword that landed on the incoming white-haired man. Just at this moment, the black wind formed a black dragon before Wang Lin. This dragon was illusory and seemed unstable, but after it formed, it immediately charged toward the white-haired man and spat out a gust of wind. This wind could extinguish the fire of all life. The white-haired man was startled. His eyes revealed a strange light as he stared at Wang Lin inside the black wind and slowly said, "This is called a wind." "Yes, it's called a wind." "What is your relationship with Celestial Emperor Bai Fan?" Wang Lin didn't reply. His hand formed a seal and the origin energy in his body surged like crazy. Then the black wind charged toward the white-haired man. The 5 spatial cracks trembled and immediately slowed down when the black wind blew by. At the same time, the black wind from the black dragon's mouth charged toward the white-haired man. For the first time, the white-haired man's eyes revealed seriousness as he stared at the black dragon formed from the black wind. Both of his hands formed a seal and he shouted, "Lands collapse." A sharp, tearing sound immediately echoed and a large crack appeared before the white-haired man and charged toward Wang Lin. This crack was very deep and spread out. It was like a dragon rushing out from the void. It charged like crazy toward Wang Lin and collided with the black dragon formed from the black wind. The loud rumble echoed across the world. All of the black wind around Wang Lin surged out and created a powerful impact with the crack. Wang Lin's body quickly retreated like a kite with a broken line. At this moment, the white-haired man took a step forward and charged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes revealed decisiveness as his right hand pointed toward the void without any hesitation. A bolt of red light directly shot out from his hand toward the void. The black wind dissipated and the huge crack seemed to be caught by a large hand and could no longer move forward. Soon after, the crack collapsed and disintegrated. That white-haired man continued to pursue, but his eyes immediately narrowed as he stared at the red lightning that was thrown out by Wang Lin. His body flickered and in the blink of an eye he caught up to the red lightning. He grabbed it and pressed it against his red eye. He was too fast. After he collected the red lightning, he took a step and merged with the world. When he reappeared, he was behind Wang Lin, who was rapidly retreating. At the moment he appeared, Wang Lin opened his mouth and spat out a grain of sand. The sand immediately became a large fragment stamp, and under Wang Lin's control, it smashed toward the white-haired man. The white-haired man's eyes lit up and his right hand reached toward the descending fragment stamp. There was a loud bang and then the fragment stamp couldn't descend anymore. At the same time, Wang Lin's right hand formed a seal and pressed forward. The beast bone tattoo immediately turned into the giant beast bone with 4 thorns. There was a ghostly flash as the evil aura shot toward the white-haired man. Master Carefree's withered Dao pair. The white-haired man's eyes revealed a look of disbelief. The beast bone's eyes released a ghostly flash and the evil aura caused grey to appear on the white-haired man's feet and quickly spread. The white-haired man let out a grim smile and then he mercilessly took a step forward. There was a bang inside his body and then the grey parts on the outside immediately collapsed. You're a very interesting chi cultivator. The white-haired man's eyes were filled with bloodlust. With one step, he rushed toward Wang Lin, leaving behind an afterimage. Wang Lin immediately changed directions and retreated. At the same time, he slapped his bag of holding and the celestial sword appeared in his hand. He mercilessly slashed the sword down behind him. The heavenly chop immediately appeared, and in an instant it looked as if the void had disappeared, leaving only the sword energy. Behind the void seemed to be forced open as the white-haired old man appeared, but his expression changed once more. This is the sword technique of the Rain Celestial Realm's celestial sword. The white-haired man frowned. His right hand reached out and the heavenly chop immediately collapsed. Wang Lin's expression was extremely gloomy. At the moment the heavenly chop collapsed, he retreated once more. The white-haired man let out a sneer and then took a step, allowing him to arrive behind Wang Lin, and his hand clawed toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent as he slapped his bag of holding and half of the blood body appeared in his hand. He immediately inhaled a large amount of origin energy into his body. The origin energy came out from the pores in his body and he didn't hesitate to create another vortex. Explode! As he shouted, the vortex before Wang Lin exploded, creating a powerful impact. The white-haired man's right hand paused slightly. Taking this chance, Wang Lin quickly retreated. His right hand clutched half of the blood body and his left hand formed a seal. His eyes were filled with a hint of madness. This white-haired man was strong. None of Wang Lin's spells and magical treasures had any effect. His left finger pointed at the sky and he shouted, "Wind!" The large amount of origin energy he absorbed from his right hand went through his body and out through the seal in his left hand. A black wind more powerful than last time appeared before Wang Lin. Still not enough. As Wang Lin continued to retreat inside the black wind, his right hand sucked more origin energy. The blood body immediately shrank as half of the origin energy was sucked away by Wang Lin like crazy, regardless of whether his body could handle it. The black wind around him suddenly grew by several times. At this moment, it seemed like the world was filled with black wind. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot as he shouted, "Call the wind!" His voice came out from the black wind, and it was like the roar from the wind. The black wind suddenly changed and turned into 2 black dragons. The 2 black dragons were extremely ferocious. They surrounded the white-haired man and opened their mouths to spit out large amounts of cold wind. The white-haired old man's body was blown away by the cold wind and trembled. However, his eyes were immediately filled with killing intent. Just at this moment, Wang Lin screamed in his heart, "Not enough, absorb more." The half of the blood body in Wang Lin's hand immediately shrank. At the same time, sounds of explosions came from inside his body. Apparently, his body couldn't withstand such a large amount of origin energy operating at once. Bursts of black wind came out from Wang Lin's paws and gathered like crazy. In an instant, another black dragon formed from the black wind. The three black dragons immediately trapped the white-haired man and released blasts of cold wind. No matter how the white-haired man dodged, the three black dragons surrounded him. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. Taking advantage of the black dragons surrounding the white-haired man, Wang Lin caused the blood body in his hand to be on the verge of collapse before throwing it at the white-haired man. At the moment the blood body closed in, Wang Lin shouted, "Explode!" A flash of red light came from the blood body and then the origin energy Wang Lin had injected into it collapsed. This caused a series of chain reactions, and the blood body exploded. This was an unimaginable force. Under the blast from the three black dragons and the blood body explosion, the entire void began to shake. Even space itself began to collapse. Wang Lin quickly retreated and put away all his treasures. Ripples appeared under his feet as he forced himself to calm down so he could merge with the world. His battle with the white-haired man didn't last long, but it was extremely fierce and difficult to imagine. In particular, those last three black dragons and the explosion of the blood body caused the battle to reach a peak. The surrounding cultivators continued to retreat as they watched Wang Lin battle. Their hearts were shaken greatly, and Wang Lin's figure was engraved deep in their minds and wouldn't dissipate in their entire lives. Shen Gonghu's eyes were filled with extreme excitement. As he stared at the retreating Wang Lin, the respect he had for Wang Lin climbed once more. Zhong Konglai was the same as he carefully watched the battle. As for Tang Yangfeng, his expression changed greatly and sucked in a breath of cold air. His gaze toward Wang Lin was filled with terror. That black wind had far exceeded his imagination. It was lucky that I didn't attack back then. Otherwise, with that black wind, Tang Yanfeng's expression was extremely gloomy, and he didn't continue thinking. This person is too strong. It is impossible for him to die, so I must quickly retreat. More ripples appeared under Wang Lin's feet. At this instant, his body merged with the world, and as he took another step back, his body slowly dissipated. However, just at this moment, he felt as if someone had pushed him and interrupted him when he was merging with the world. His body stopped dissipating and immediately condensed. "Little fellow fated with me, don't be in such a hurry to leave. I can't come here right now, so let me borrow your body." An old voice immediately appeared inside Wang Lin's mind. At the same time, a power only he could feel came from the void behind him through some unknown method. It immediately cut off Wang Lin's origin soul's connection with his body. Under this power, Wang Lin's origin soul was immediately compressed and another powerful origin soul started forming. In the blink of an eye, another origin soul was formed. This origin soul's appearance was exactly the same as the mysterious old man who had borrowed the Thunder Beast. The old man's origin soul moved and completely took control of Wang Lin's body. At this instant, Wang Lin changed completely and a powerful pressure came from his body. Wang Lin watched from the outside as his body stepped forward and moved. It was as if the old man was getting used to his body. At this moment, where the void collapsed after the impact passed, a completely black statue was revealed. Waves of cracking sounds came from the statue and a crack appeared between its eyebrows. More and more cracks appeared until a pair of hands came out from the gap and mercilessly tore the crack open. A black-haired middle-aged man walked out. There were no scars on his body, but his eyes were filled with killing intent. By Fan's celestial spell, Qing Shuang's celestial sword, Master Carefree's treasure, and the body of someone that is a match for a celestial lord. Ever since I awakened, you are the most powerful Qi cultivator I have encountered. You are qualified to say your name. This person's appearance was similar to the white-haired man, but it was as if he had become a lot younger. As the middle-aged man spoke, his right hand hit the statue and the statue immediately melted, forming a black spear that he held in his hand. What's with all this nonsense? Isn't it just a celestial? You're just a celestial general, and not to mention your current cultivation level is only celestial lord. Wang Lin watched his body speak this with an old-fashioned tone. However, he had a vague feeling that these words seemed to be lacking in confidence. As his body spoke, his body moved forward and his right hand pressed down. The entire void moved and white gas began to rapidly gather. Soon, it turned into a white ball the size of a fist and charged toward the middle-aged man. To be able to gather the force from the heavens and earth, who are you? The middle-aged man became serious and his spear drew an arc. Countless red lights appeared out of thin air and gathered in that arc. The arc condensed and shot out toward the ball of light. The balls of light and the arc collided. They both immediately dissipated and made no sound, but countless cracks began to spread from the center of the colossum. It spread far too fast and even affected a few cultivators who couldn't dodge quickly enough. The moment the cracks touched their bodies, their entire bodies trembled and then disappeared without a trace. Wang Lin's body's eyes shrank an indiscernible amount as he stepped forward and directly merged with the world without any resistance. However, he didn't disappear and instead pointed at the sky with a seal he had made with his right hand and shouted, "Celestial burning flame." In an instant, a red flame silently appeared and spread across the sky. This flame appeared out of nowhere and contained a terrifying aura. The moment the flame appeared, it covered most of the sky. The surrounding cultivators immediately retreated as they were afraid to get caught inside. This flame was too powerful, it was as if it would refine the world. Even a tiny spark was enough to cause the surrounding cultivators to be filled with aghast. Powerful origin energy spread, causing Wang Lin's figure to flicker inside the flame. However, no one dared to not look at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's body raised his right hand and pressed it down, then he shouted, "Blaze." The surroundings immediately collapsed and the flame covering the sky began to become more dense. It was as if oil had been dumped into the flame and caused it to erupt. The surrounding flames rushed toward the middle-aged man at the center. During this process, it was as if the flame had turned into countless fire dragons that carried with them a powerful heat wave as they attempted to devour the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's eyes became serious and cold. He let go of the spear in his hand and the spear immediately shattered. The shattered spear orbited around him. At the same time, he pressed his right index finger on his right hand and red light from his eyes immediately began to intensify. I didn't think there would be people who had reached such a level of cultivation among the junior chi cultivators. Not simple. As he spoke, his right eye flashed red and a ray of red lightning immediately shot out. The moment this lightning appeared, a monstrous, cold aura spread out and it shot toward Wang Lin. Under this cold aura, as the red lightning moved forward, the flame before it seemed to extinguish, leaving behind a long trail as it rushed toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's body's eyes became serious. His hands formed a seal and he pointed with his finger as he shouted, "Flame." Explosions suddenly echoed as the flames surrounding the middle-aged man suddenly rose into the air and formed a fireball. At the center of the fireball was the middle-aged man. The moment the fireball formed, it immediately began to shrink as if it wanted to burn everything inside. It burned not only all tangible things but also the intangible. Large amounts of space began to collapse as if nothing could escape this flame. Only the G realm flashed out of the fireball and headed straight for Wang Lin. In the instant the fireball contracted, the G realm charged out and landed on Wang Lin's body. A destructive aura immediately exploded inside his body. Wang Lin could clearly see the old man's origin soul immediately collapse under the G realm. However, it immediately reformed and then collapsed again. In a short period of time, the old man's origin soul experienced countless collapses and reforms. Every time this happened, his origin soul would become a bit weaker. These several breaths of time felt like an eternity to Wang Lin. He began to focus his origin soul, and at the moment the old man's origin soul collapsed, he acted without hesitation. Wang Lin had to help. Otherwise, once the old man's origin soul couldn't resist anymore or was unable to resist and decided to leave, Wang Lin wasn't confident he could resist the G realm himself. After all, the G realm from before came from within the seal. Although it was very strong, it was also extremely weak, as if it had no solid foundation. However, the situation now was very different as this G realm was very powerful. At the moment Wang Lin's origin soul acted, he immediately felt the terrifying power of the G realm. His origin soul trembled as origin energy spread out. The origin energy wrapped around the G realm and was broken through layer after layer like a sharp knife piercing through paper. Fortunately, the old man's origin soul had a moment to recover with Wang Lin's help. At the moment the G realm was about to pierce Wang Lin's origin soul, the old man swallowed it and continued to use his origin energy to seal the G realm. All of this felt extremely slow to Wang Lin, but in reality, it happened in a short period of time. None of the surrounding cultivators saw through this. Dangerous. This is indeed worthy of Celestial Lord Qing Shui. The G realm is indeed shocking, and this old man didn't plan this in vain. Unfortunately, I couldn't come in my own body and almost caused my plan to fail. I didn't think that Celestial Lord Qing Shui would still have such strength after being sealed for so many years. The old man's tired voice came from inside Wang Lin's mind. At this moment, the fireball rapidly shrank until it was only 10 feet wide and then it collapsed. This caused all the power condensed inside to explode several fold stronger. For an instant, it was as if everything in the world was enveloped in the light from the flame. One could see the light from the flame coloring the sky even if they were far away. This light spread everywhere and Wang Lin's figure inside this light was filled with majesty. The excitement in Shen Gonghu's eyes had reached a peak. He looked at Wang Lin's figure and shouted, "This is my lord's real strength. My prediction earlier wasn't wrong." Zhong Conlai stood in the void. Although the flame was far away, he could still feel the heat. He was every excitement as he looked at the flame. The idea of doing the same thing as Shen Gonghu appeared in his heart once more. Senior's cultivation is unfathomable. It is obvious that he was suppressing his cultivation at corporeal yang stage before, and now it has risen countless fold. Also, his present strength mustn't be the limit. As for Tang Yangfeng, his expression was no longer gloomy but deathly pale. When he saw Wang Lin's battle with the white-haired man, he was extremely shocked. He didn't expect Wang Lin to control so many spells, but as shocked as he was able to reluctantly accept this fact in his heart. However, when he saw the flame, he sucked in a breath of cold air. The shock in his mind collapsed and was replaced with terror and aghast. Tang Yangfeng muttered to himself, "He? Who the hell is he?" Shen Gonghu sneered as he looked at the Tang Yangfeng and calmly said, "Fellow cultivator Tang, do you still remember when you ridiculed me outside the Celestial Gate? You see, the person before you is the reason why I was willing to be punished by my family and isolated by the people at the Thunder Celestial Temple." Tang Yangfeng was dumbfounded as he stared at the figure inside the flame, and he couldn't say anything for a long time. Just at this moment, a low voice echoed. "To not die to the G realm, you are very strong." A statue appeared inside the flames. When it shattered, a young man walked out. This young man was extremely handsome, but his expression contained a hint of evil. This video will end here.